Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Yusuf, and this is Future English Lit, the place where we explore fascinating ideas powered by a little AI magic. A very special welcome to all our new listeners from TikTok. Today, we will learn the basics of sentence structure, and we're diving into a topic that is close to all of our hearts, something that defines us beyond our jobs and daily routines. We're talking about our favorite hobbies, but we're not just going to list them. Oh no, we're going to dig deeper. We're going to explore why we love them, how they shape our identity, and we're going to do all of this while paying close attention to the very building blocks of our conversation, our sentences. So whether you're a grammar enthusiast or just someone looking for a new pastime, you're in the right place. So let me ask you directly, what are your hobbies? It's a simple question, right? But the answers can be incredibly complex and revealing. Think about it. When someone asks you, what are your hobbies, your brain immediately starts scanning through a list of activities. I love reading. I enjoy hiking. I'm into photography. These are simple, straightforward sentences. They are our foundation. But what if we want to add a little more color? What if we want to explain why we love these things? This is where our language needs to level up. This is where we move from simple sentences to more complex, more descriptive structures. Let's take a very common hobby. Reading. A simple statement is, I read books. It's clear, it's correct, but it doesn't tell us much. Now, let's enhance it. We can add an adjective. I read fascinating books. Better. We can specify the genre. I read science fiction novels. Even better. But the real magic happens when we start using dependent clauses. These are clauses that can't stand on their own. They add context to the main idea. For example, even though I have a busy schedule, I always find time to read a few pages before I go to sleep. Hear that? Even though I have a busy schedule is a dependent clause. It sets up a contrast. It adds drama to my simple love for reading. The main clause, I always find time to read, is now empowered by this additional information. Or, how about this? I get completely lost in a story, which is why I prefer long, epic novels. The clause, which is why I prefer long, epic novels, explains the consequence of the main action. It connects two related ideas seamlessly. Now, let's switch gears to a more active hobby. Let's talk about playing a musical instrument, like the guitar. A simple sentence, I play the guitar. To make it more engaging, we can use adverbs. I play the guitar passionately. Or we can use prepositional phrases to add detail. I play the guitar in my garage with my friends on weekends. But again, to truly express the experience, we need complex sentences. Listen to this. Whenever I feel stressed, strumming the strings of my guitar helps me relax. The dependent clause. Whenever I feel stressed establishes a condition. A specific time when this hobby becomes my therapy. Another great structure is using the present perfect tense to describe an experience over time. I have been playing the guitar for 5 years, and it has become a fundamental part of my identity. That sentence doesn't just state a fact. It tells a story of journey and personal growth. You see, the hobbies we choose often say something about our personality, don't they? Someone who enjoys hiking or rock climbing might be an adventurer. Their language might be full of action and goal-oriented statements. For me, the best part of hiking is when I finally reach the summit and see the breathtaking view. That's a noun clause acting as the subject complement. When I finally reach the summit is the part of the sentence that defines the best part. It's a sophisticated structure that perfectly captures a feeling of achievement. On the other hand, someone whose hobby is cooking or baking is often a creator. A nurturer. Their descriptions will be rich with sensory details. I love the aroma of garlic and onions sizzling in the pan and the sound of the dough rising in the oven. Did you notice the use of gerunds, verbs ending in ing that act as nouns there? Sizzling and rising describe the actions that are happening in that moment, making the description vivid and immediate. Now here's a fascinating category, the niche hobbies. These are the ones that make people say, wait, really? That's a thing? I'm talking about things like urban sketching, astrophotography, or fountain pen collecting. When you have a niche hobby, your language needs to be even more precise. You need to use specific vocabulary. You can't just say, I take pictures. You say, I use a star tracker to capture long exposure shots of distant galaxies, which requires immense patience and a clear night sky. You become an expert in your field, and your sentences reflect that expertise. You use appositives. nouns or noun phrases that sit next to another noun to explain or identify it. For example, my favorite pen, a vintage Mont Blanc Meisterstück, writes with a smoothness that is simply unmatched. The phrase, a vintage Mont Blanc Meisterstück, is in a positive, giving us specific, detailed information about the noun pen. But maybe you're listening to this and thinking, Yusuf, I don't have a hobby. I just watch Netflix. Well, first of all, let's not underestimate the power of curating a watch list. That is a skill. And second, the way you talk about it can still be sophisticated. Instead of I watch shows, you could say, I'm particularly drawn to character-driven dramas that explore complex moral dilemmas. That relative clause, that explore complex moral dilemmas, specifies exactly what kind of dramas you enjoy. It shows discernment. It turns a passive activity into an active interest. The key takeaway here is that your hobbies, no matter how simple or complex, provide a perfect playground for practicing and enriching your language. You start with, I like books, and before you know it, you're saying, what I find most compelling about post-apocalyptic fiction is its exploration of human resilience in the face of societal collapse. So as we wrap up our journey into the world of hobbies today, I want to leave you with this thought. Our hobbies are more than just ways to pass the time. They are expressions of our passions, our curiosities, and our identities. And the sentences we use to describe them are the vehicles for that expression. By moving from simple statements to complex, descriptive sentences, we don't just communicate what we do, we communicate who we are. We've touched on simple sentences, complex sentences with dependent clauses, the use of adverbs, adjectives, prepositional phrases, gerunds, and appositives. These are the tools that can transform your conversation from mundane to mesmerizing. So the next time someone asks you, what are your hobbies? I challenge you to go beyond the one-word answer. Build a sentence. Tell a story. Share a piece of your world. Thank you so much for listening. This was Numen Mitam. I'm Yusuf. If you enjoyed this deep dive into hobbies and language, please share this podcast with a friend. Let me know on my TikTok channel, what your favorite hobby is and try to describe it using a complex sentence. I'd love to read your creations. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building those beautiful sentences.